Welcome back to another Q&A. We are here today to answer questions about hitting mats. So the first question we have today is, what is the best hitting mat? That is a very difficult question to answer because there are just so many variables and so much of it comes down to your personal preference. There's hitting mats that you can get that have really soft feel and are easy on the joints. There's some hitting mats that are going to be more firm and maybe feel a little more realistic. There's hitting mats that you can buy for really cheap, but they don't feel good at all. So there's just a lot of different variables out there, and it really depends on your needs. Somebody who has maybe some wrist or elbow pain or something like that would probably want to opt for a softer hitting mat that maybe doesn't feel quite as realistic, whereas somebody who doesn't have that kind of issue and they really want to make it feel like they're on a golf course playing can opt for a little more firm hitting mat. So other factors that come into play are, how are you going to be using the mat? Some people want to kind of build up a little bit of a subfloor and have their mat sit level with the rest of the surface. A hitting mat like maybe a fiber built that has a base around it doesn't work so well with that. Carl's Place mat, you can get either just the insert or you can get the mat itself that doesn't have any kind of base, and you can easily sink that right into a floor that matches the height of the hitting mat. If you're planning on putting it maybe on like a cement floor, something like a True Strike hitting mat or a fiber built that have a heavier base are going to help that just stay in place a lot better than a lighter weight hitting mat like maybe a Country Club Elite or a Carl's Place Hot Shot mat without the base. So there's environmental factors to look at as well. Another thing to look at is the actual hitting section that you're hitting off of. Some mats like our Carl's Place mats, True Strike, fiber built, those for the most part are going to have hitting areas that you can swap out as they start to wear down. Something like a Country Club Elite mat, it is just one solid base. And so as that mat wears out, you can't just swap out the hitting section. It would require replacement of the entire mat. Another thing that a lot of people like to look at is using real tees with their hitting mat. Most mats out there you can't put a real tee into. Our Carl's Place mats with the standard insert, you can put a real tee right into that standard insert. And same with the Country Club Elite mats. You can use a real tee right into the Country Club Elite mat. Otherwise, a hitting mat with either like a rubber insert that goes through it or maybe a tee that sits on top of the hitting mat is going to be the way to go. The ones that we really like, the ones that we stand behind and we carry, are going to be the Carl's Place Hot Shot mats, fiber built, True Strike, and Country Club Elite hitting mats. All right, the next question we have is, I see Carl's Place offers 3 different hitting mat inserts. What's the difference? So that's a great question. We do offer our 3 inserts. We have the standard, the foam, and the gel hitting mat inserts. Let's go through the 3 of those real quick here. So we'll start off with this one. This is our standard. It's going to be the most flexible out of all of them. It's going to be made from the same material as the rest of the hitting mat. It's got a decent amount of cushion to it, so it's not hard on the joints by any means as you swing. There's going to be 3 holes in the hitting section where you can put a rubber tee holder through and you can put a tee into it, or you can also put a real tee right into this turf. Again, it does a pretty good job of cushioning your swing, so provides some protection there. The next one we're going to look at is, we're going to go with this one, which is our foam insert. This is just kind of a half cutout section of the foam, so you can see right here, I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but this is the foam itself inside the mat, and it provides a lot of cushion. So this one is going to be a lot softer than the standard. It's going to be the easiest one on the joint, so if you've got wrist pain, if you've got elbow pain, the foam insert is going to be the way to go. This one, you cannot use a real tee in it. You'll have to use a tee like our Carl's Place Hot Shot tees that just sit right on the surface. But otherwise, yeah, this is going to be an excellent choice if you want something that's really easy on the joints. And then our third option that we have is going to be this one. It's the heaviest one that we offer, and this is our gel insert. So again, I'll try to show you here. Right underneath the turf, you can see that this is just all gel material. This one, it still has a bit of cushion to it, but it is going to be the firmest of the 3 hitting mats that we offer. Still is not super jarring on the joints when you swing, but it is going to be firmer than the other options. But this one, I think, feels the most realistic as you're swinging. So if you're really looking to duplicate that feel of hitting off of turf outside, the gel hitting section is the way to go. No matter which style of hitting insert you decide on, one of the nice benefits of a Carl's Place mat is as this starts to wear down with use, all you have to do is pop this out of the mat, give us a call or head to our website, order a new one, and you can just place the new one inside and you are going to be ready to go. All right, the next question we have is, I am looking to install subflooring. How thick are your hitting mats? So this is a question that we get from people who are looking to just have kind of one surface, no drop off or anything like that between the hitting mat and the rest of the floor. The hitting mats that we offer without the base are going to be 1 3/4 inches tall. So you want to make sure that with your flooring and everything that you're building up, you're going to be 1 3/4 inches, and you'll have that nice smooth transition from your hitting surface down to the rest of the floor. Another question that we have is, how does putting work on a hitting mat? That is going to depend on your setup. If you do something like we talked about before and you inset the hitting mat into your flooring so everything is one nice level surface, you're good to go. You just putt and the ball roll right up to your screen. More frequently, what we see are people putting hitting mats on top of their flooring. And you can do a couple of different things with that. Some people just kind of leave their mat as is and let the ball drop off. And if you're using like a camera-based launch monitor, typically by the time the ball gets to the end of the hitting mat, the launch monitor has already done its thing and you can't see it anymore. If you're using a radar-based launch monitor, you might want to look at getting something like we offer a ramp that you can butt up to the front edge of some of the hitting mats, and that will make for a smoother transition. It allows the ball to roll smoothly down to the floor and allows some of those radar-based launch monitors to be able to see that putt. But one thing to note with those ramps is they don't work with all the hitting mats. They work well with our Carl's Place ones because, as we mentioned before, the Carl's Place mats don't have a base that they come with by default. Whereas if you use it with something like a True Strike mat, the True Strike mat has kind of like a plastic rim around the outside that doesn't allow for that smooth transition when you're putting. So it makes it a little more difficult when you go that route. All right, our next question is, I'm going to be having right and left-handed golfers using my sim. Do I need a specific hitting mat to accommodate both? Probably is going to be the best answer. If you're going to be hitting from the center of your space and everybody's hitting from the same spot, you want to make sure you're getting a wide enough hitting mat so that righties and lefties can stand on each side of the ball and swing and hit from the same space. We offer our Carl's Place hitting mats in the 4x9 and the 6x10 size that will accommodate that. But then there's also the True Strike Academy mat that has a middle hitting section with a couple of stance sections on each side. You can also find that in fiber-built hitting mats as well. And then Country Club Elite, as we mentioned earlier, doesn't have a defined hitting area, so that makes it a little easier to accommodate righties and lefties. We do also offer our Carl's Place Hot Shot mats in a 4x5, 5x7, and 5x8 size. However, those have a single hitting space offset to the side, so they don't work well for right and left-handed golfers. Our next question is, I have a radar-based launch monitor. Will that work with a hitting mat? Yes, you can make a radar-based launch monitor work with a hitting mat. Typically, the radar-based launch monitors do need to be level with your hitting surface. For those launch monitors, we have the Golf Mat Extension Strip. The Golf Mat Extension Strip is basically the same material as the rest of our hitting mat. It is about 8 feet long, about a foot wide. You can place this right in line with your golf ball behind your hitting mat, put the launch monitor on the strip behind you, and you'll be all set to go. Our next question is, I have a hitting mat that I want to move out of the way when not in use. Is there a good mat that will work for this? The hitting mats that we found easiest to get out of the way were the ones that you could roll up. And the Carl's Place hitting mats work well for this. I mentioned earlier, this is the same material as our hitting mat. You can see that it folds fairly easily. Makes it easy just to kind of roll up, get out of the way, and when you're ready to start using it again, pull it back out, unroll it. You should be set to go. One thing to note, if you do have it rolled up and stored away for an extended period of time, is the edges can tend to curl. All you need to do is curl that the opposite direction. It'll help to alleviate that and get it back to normal. Our next question is, what kind of lifespan can I expect out of a hitting mat? That's a tough one to answer because there's no real definitive answer to that. A lot of it comes down to the golfer and how you're swinging. Like if you tend to hit down on the ball, take divots, that sort of thing, you're going to be really wearing that mat down quicker. Whereas if you tend to pick the ball pretty clean, you're not making as much contact with that mat, you're going to get a lot longer lifespan out of it. So it'll vary quite a bit depending on the golfer and your swing style. And that's one of the reasons why we recommend a mat with a replaceable hitting strip, because obviously that spot that you're hitting is going to wear down the fastest. So as that does start to wear out, again, you can just replace the individual hitting area instead of the whole mat if you've got a mat that's capable of that. So that is all of the questions that we had for today. If there's any others that you want us to answer, please let us know in the comments below, and we will see you in the next one.